Okay. Not that. Hi, Marco. Window.
Yes.
Share.
Here we go.
Here we are.
No worries, Marco.
I was wondering if you were on the stage and the hallway, then whether you're going to come onto the stage too. Okay. Can you hear and see us, please? Yes, great. Thank you. Welcome to the first Gala event of the DevPortal Awards in the year 2023. We are delighted and very proud to have arrived to this point of the award ceremony and super excited to share with you the trends and insights that presented themselves this year. My name is Laura Avash, and I will be hosting this event together with Christophe Van Tomme. Hi, welcome.
Hello.
I believe that portals, just like API programs, they are actually of the infinite game persuasion. And that would mean there are no fixed rules. And all the portals, they play to be in the game and to be a positive contributor there. And so, ironically, I don't believe that there is actually such a thing as the objectively best developer portal, but there are outstanding achievements to celebrate each year. And the volunteer jurors of the DevPortal Awards come together and choose to put the spotlight on some of the portals that represent what at that time they see to be a most noteworthy direction to pursue both in quality and in innovation for a better user experience.
So, but before we get started, I'd like to give a toast.
This is water.
So,
congratulations.
Congratulations. And also, thank you very much. Because it's taken a whole bunch of people to organize the awards. As every year, it takes a whole lot of work from the team. And I would like to start with, for once, I'd like to start with thanking the team who spent an enormous amount of effort doing all of this. I'd like to thank the jurors who spent an enormous amount of time working and analyzing the developer portals. And I'd like to thank everybody who participated in the awards, who nominated and who maybe is going to win an award for taking part in all of this. Also, like, it's almost Christmas. At least, they untold Mary Carrie. So I don't know if you've seen that clip. So it's kind of like also a good point to look back and forward a little bit. I think 2023 is a year that is going to be hard to forget. A lot of stuff happened. I'll not go into all the things, but a lot of stuff happened. I personally won't forget this year. It feels a little bit like it's a crossroads, and that there's like some really big things are about to change. I personally believe that APIs are going to become even more important going forward. I'm talking about the whole AI thing. I think that APIs will become even more important. I also think that developer portals are going to evolve and become like almost like a business solution or a business tool to do much more advanced stuff. There's a lot of really interesting things happening if you're following the news. So I think also for next year, the awards, we're like doing a good rethinking about what are the things that we need to be paying attention to. I think, but practically thinking ahead and looking at how can we create solutions that have a clear and a very clear business impact on our organizations, and the further diversification of developer portals, because I think a lot of that is happening right now. It's going to be very exciting to see and to follow up. But with that said, I'd like to give the floor back to Laura. So
let me continue. So today, because this is the first Gala event, we invite you to an interview, two interviews with our esteemed jurors. And then we are going to reveal the finalists and then the winners in 7 categories. And after that, we're going to open the hallway track for meeting the winners and the members of the jury panel. The interviews and this entire ceremony is recorded. The hallway track is not recorded. We'll publish parts of today's happenings at a later date. And once we go back to the roundtables, I repeat, so in the roundtables where you arrived, there's no recording, but whatever is happening here on stage and in the chat is being recorded. So for this reason and for everybody's comfort, I do ask you the code of conduct during this whole event, which would be summarized in be friendly, welcoming, and respectful. And I would like to add to that, keep your curiosity. And I hope you get a lot of inspiration and positivity out of this event. If there is an issue that you need to report, please contact the DevPortal Awards team here in Remo in a private message. My colleagues Claudia Jancovic and Rebecca Nagymikola are here to listen if there is an issue that we need to take care of. Before we reveal the finalists and the winners, let's see who entered the competition and evaluated this. In 2023, 57 developer portal teams decided to submit their nomination. National brands and emerging SMEs joined the contest this year. We're delighted that we could see an impressive dedication to onboarding experiences and a setting of a new standard for the time to wow. It's also clearly visible that a lot of investment goes into the work of technical writing and to embracing communities. So what makes a developer portal truly exceptional in 2023? Let's find this out with the help of our esteemed jurors. I think I'm talking of everyone who in any way tune into the DevPortal Awards, that with our deepest gratitude, we thank all people who dedicate their time and attention to the understanding, the building, and the maintenance of excellent documentation and documentation portals. And all of us being part, either as representing the nominated portals or being on the jury panel or organizing the award, we thank you in advance from the future for pushing the bar higher and higher on data quality, innovation, and user experience. So as you know, probably, each year seeks out the most outstanding solution with the help of experienced jurors who are volunteers outside and independent of the organization. And this year, I had the privilege of seeing the work of 13 extraordinary people who put their heart and soul into this evaluation. The process of the jurors is much more introspective and much more hair-raising than you might think at first. A juror must understand their own biases and set them aside. They have to reflect on what professional values they want to celebrate and step up for that publicly, to really, truly see and understand a portal of a perhaps unknown industry niche or of a future competitor. And on top of all the considerable professional experience and insights, each juror had to find their own mindset of some vulnerability, a lot of impartiality, wonder, and empathy. We are greatly thankful for all of them, and I thank you. And now I would like to call Koichi, Joshua, Fabrizio, and Chris on the virtual stage to gather some intel from you. Koichi Shiroma has extensive experience in product management. Joshua Markham is Senior Manager of Emerging Technologies at Verizon. Fabrizio Ferri Benedetti is Principal Technical Writer at Splunk. And Chris Bush, who you can see on the stage, is Lead Developer Educator at MongoDB. Welcome.
Welcome.
So we're waiting for Fabrizio and Joshua. You're here?
That's Fabrizio. And hey.
Hi.
And
I think
Joshua.
it's fine to just unmute to keep it more conversational. However, I'm going to call names so that it's less awkward, that we don't interrupt each other, if that's all right. I'm asking my colleagues whether Joshua is here.
Technical problems, maybe. Might be Verizon network. Like a firewall thing.
Oh, he's smarter than that. He knows.
Okay.
We don't see.
Okay.
Then I recommend
just
that
get
we go forward with 3 of our jurors, and so the questions are no surprise for the jurors. Just for your information, they know this, but I don't know what they're going to answer. And I'm going to ask first, Fabrizio, since you're unmuted. Did you see certain aspects of developer portals coming more into focus as opposed to a couple of years ago developer portals?
Well, first of all, hi everyone. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here, and I love the spiritual Gala thing with the tables and all. That's great. To answer your question, Laura, well, I see two interesting trends going on. One is well, this has been going on for a while, but I think there's a constant search for a more cohesive experience, in the sense that developer portals often started out as just disconnected reference documentation and guides, very often with different look and feel, because they relied on different tools, for example, for building the static output. And I'm very pleased this year to see so many developer portals really striving at maintaining a cohesive experience throughout. Not just in terms of things like colors, for example, fonts, but even down to the UI elements for user interaction, for example, voice and tone. That's really a nice trend to see. And the second thing that I see growing, though not at the level that I would love to, is localization and internationalization. And that is also on the rise. We tend to forget sometimes that users come from many different countries, and software used to be localized a lot in the 80s and the 90s, and somehow we seem to have forgotten a bit of that along the way. But now it's taking up again, and I've seen some very good efforts in embracing internationalization in developer portals recently, and among our competitors and contestants. And yeah, so those are the trends we've been seeing.
Chris, how do you think about this? What aspects do you see coming more into focus recently?
Yeah, thanks. And I'd also like to say thank you so much for having me as a jurist, and it's been a great honor, and it's been really great to see all of the work that's out there. I think the trend that I'm seeing that I'm liking is that the DevPortal has been becoming very practical and hands-on and focused, with lots of emphasis on the getting started experience, the time to wow, if you'll excuse the cliche. But it's one of those things that seems obvious, but it's really easier said than done. Really deciding what elements to focus on, what to present to the user in order to get them on board and actually doing something with your product. It's a challenge, and when we've seen it work on the sites that were presented to us, it really did work, and it made a huge difference. So I really just think that the emphasis on the practical and the hands-on has been a great trend to see.
Thank you. And Koichi?
Yeah, actually, I was going to say something similar. Onboarding, bringing the developer into the full experience of the service, bringing things into context is a lot more important these days than just providing documentation and tools. The overall experience and clearly some emphasis on time to wow rather than time to hello world, which I think over the last couple of years we've seen get a bit hacked, I would say, as a shortcut to providing value. But yeah, these days much more focused around context and education for the developer to be useful.
And if I may turn this around, which I really like doing, is there aspects or parts of developer portals that keep lingering on, but wish they didn't, and it would be a thing? Fabricio?
Well, that's a good question. In general, I would I would love the Stripe syndrome to go away. In the sense of everybody loves Stripe docs. We want to have Stripe docs, and I think we are in a good moment to leave that inferiority complex behind. I think and explore other ways of doing API documentation specifically. Um, I think there's lots of room for innovation, and instead of just trading behind the thought leader in the sector, that is perhaps the thing that I would gladly leave behind next year.
Let me surprise Koichi. What do you think, Koichi?
Yeah, I was going to say the diversity around how you get to whatever you want to call it, the endpoint information, or yeah, I like the healthy creativity that's going on these days. It is not just Stripe or Swagger. I think there are a little more creative things going on. And I think that's only going to increase going forward. So yeah, the days of everybody copycatting, I think there's a lot of room for experimentation, especially around, obviously code gen and AI tools to really, really change the interface and how you communicate and how you gain knowledge around other services. So I think that's going to be interesting, and seems to be already going in that direction.
And authors, do you have some strong feelings about certain things that you'd rather not see too much anymore?
I don't have strong feelings about anything, but the one thing, and this may seem very superficial, but I think it is a bit indicative of a wider sort of thing that I would kind of like to see be left behind, is animated scrolling. I know this is, like I said, this is probably superficial, but it does feel like something that where we've sort of put the cart before the horse, and I do think that the form needs to follow the function, right? And the functionality of a docs site is to give us information. And so when I'm clicking through a site, I really don't want to interact with like something that tends to be kind of buggy, and watch the thing scroll, and take a minute. And I mean, I can understand why people have added these, because it looks cool, but it's not practical, and it does annoy me. So I hope my PSA is this very superficial minor thing, to maybe stop animating the scroll. Just let us scroll, and if you click something, don't animate down. Just teleport to that zone.
So you're not opinionated, right?
I have no opinions whatsoever, but yes, on that one thing.
Right. And don't mute yet, so I'm going to ask you first. Were there surprising novelties that you have seen? And I'm going to couple that to the bonus question. If this was science fiction, what would you like to see? If you rip away the context of what's possible, just the function.
Right. I think one thing that we were seeing a lot, in a good way, was these recipes, or again, not to just repeat myself, but we would have really specific hands-on things that you could do, you could follow to really get started, and that I think was great to see. and they would be very, like I said, they were specific use cases. It wasn't just general getting started with a thing. It would be like, how to integrate with a specific third-party service or something like that. I don't think that everybody should spend all their time making those things, but when you do have them, it is nice to have. So that was a nice sort of thing to see. As far as the science fiction, I think it's not really that far off, honestly, but with the advent of the large language model, natural language processing, AI, and all that stuff, I think we are on a bit of maybe a watershed or a cusp of a new way of interacting with the documentation. If done tastefully and correctly, I think that there's a way to have the way that we lay out information become more dynamic and answer users' questions, dynamically according to what they sort of want to know by using some of the LLM things that are coming up. But again, trying to keep it tasteful and just recognizing that AI has a specific use and purpose and limitations. But I really think that is sort of the direction that things are going to go at some point. So really, it's not that science fiction-y, but yeah, maybe it is. I don't know. I'm thinking of in Star Trek, you just ask the computer to do stuff for you rather than really fiddling with a lot of knobs and reading. You never see people on Star Trek reading documentation. They're always they already know how to do things. Anyway, so yeah, that's sort of where I'd go with that.
You also don't see them waiting for the ads before they get the answer.
Right, exactly.
Fabrizio, what do you think about science fiction?
Science fiction. I mean, in terms of surprising novel approaches, I really enjoyed seeing more interactivity in that portals. Like here's a snippet of code, you can run it. In some cases, you could even run the snippet of code within the product, right? And that I think is the wow moment, the wow effect that sometimes we are seeking in products, and it's nice to see it in developer portals as well. Bringing that idea a bit far into science fiction, I don't know if it will make sense, but I kind of wish that products could be their own developer portal. And by this, I mean that users could somehow, and it's interesting because it kind of connects with Chris's idea of not having to read documentation that much, which is kind of a contradiction when it comes to developer portals. But if the developer portal, if the product, could be taken apart into pieces, into sub-applications that users could repurpose, connect, reorder, rearrange them in new configurations as they saw fit. That would be, I think, a very interesting direction. Not necessarily no code or low code approaches. There are also some developments there, but I'm still thinking, that I love retro computing and reading old manuals, and I still remember, when you used to be able to rearrange UIs in the way you wanted in desktop applications. You could have the panels the way you wanted. You could change the shortcuts. You could rearrange the applications in whatever configuration you wanted. And with web and mobile applications, I think that kind of went away. As the user experience seems to be way more controlled. It would be lovely to see that coming back somehow, so that people could it should be more playful. I think developing something should feel a bit more like doing some Lego construction rather than polling a number of API endpoints using curl one after the other. But that's totally science fiction, and that's you asked me and I came up with this fantasy.
I wonder how we could make APIs tactile. It's a bit okay. And products. Koichi, what do you think? Are there new novel approaches to how you see thinking about APIs, and how would the Star Trek dev portals look like?
Yeah, I think that's going to be for the next year's Gala and going forward. This year we didn't see too much of it, but definitely tools around writing working code and getting to productivity sooner rather than later. Another thing I think found interesting, and some of them were really inspirational. I don't know if you really call them stories or incentives around using the service or API in areas that I wouldn't have found myself being interested in when I first went to that dev portal. But the approach was so engaging that it really kind of motivated me to try out whatever it was, even though I may not have been interested there. So I think motivation and gaining interest around the services for potential developers that you may not have targeted before for some of these services could be pretty interesting also.
Thank you. Is there any remarks that I didn't lead you towards with a question, but you would like to add? Okay. After saying it's so much work to be a juror, would you give some encouragement to future jurors? Why is this worth it to put in so much time? Is it?
Yeah, I mean, I had a great time doing it for sure. It's as we discussed in our jury, it's rare to be able to kind of nerd out on such specific stuff. When you're doing it day in and day out, besides your own team, you don't really get to interact with other people doing it in the space unless you're a consultant or something. But yeah, I thought that was cool for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, you learn so much just by looking deeply at other approaches with a not entirely involved eye, in the sense that it's different when you're doing some benchmarking, maybe on your company, looking at competitors and so on. But the variety of sectors covered by these awards were so refreshing. Like I never worked, for example, in the car industry, and looking at their approaches to things is so refreshing and different. So it's a great learning experience.
Yeah, I'd really encourage anybody who's interested to try doing this, because it's fun. Surprisingly, it is nice to be involved in a community in the industry, rather than we can be very siloed. We can do our own thing and only see what's in front of us. But it's great to see what's out there in a structured way, and to try to give back in that way. Yeah, like I said, it was genuinely a lot of fun. I really enjoyed my sub team conversations, and we were all brought the right amount of passion. There was no, it wasn't, annoying in any way. I really just enjoyed doing it. So I would really encourage people to reach out to Laura for next year if you can.
Thank you for this. Thank you again and again and again. Let's see if your jury colleagues also think that it was great and how they see the future and the present of developer portals. Thank you very much. And I'm going to call to the stage now Amy, Marco, Richard, Kruno, Ryan, and if Joshua arrived in the meantime, then also Joshua. I see 4 of you. Great. So we're still waiting for Amy. I hope she's here. Amy is not here. Okay. So Amy, who we are not waiting for because she couldn't make it today, is a developer advocate at Adyen. And she was also part of the jury group. Marco, who also brought his cat into the evaluations, but he's not there right now on the camera.
No.
Marco is senior technical writer at Sanity. Richard Smedley is principal technical writer at Couchbase. Hi. And Kruno Golubic is technical writer at MemeGraph. And I think I still have to say Ryan, Ryan Clifford, Platform Group Product Manager at Spendesk. I hope I didn't make a blunder. If I did, please correct me.
No obvious protests.
I
I think we're good.
I forgot to stop to count. Okay. So, who's needed? Kruno, you're first on my rendering. So let me ask you first. What certain aspects did you see more coming into focus of developer portals that were not so much in the spotlight before, not so much featured?
I would say that probably the things related to the first touch point and getting started with different programming languages, but not in a manner that you would have like one page, or jump between tabs to check out everything that you needed if you're trying to find your right language, the one that you are using. But portals seem to be more oriented to allowing users, to select their preferences, and then they just follow you and offer you the right things at the right time. So I would say that is the biggest change that I've seen.
Richard?
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree a lot with what's already been said about the time to wow, the getting started, and so on. One thing I liked, which perhaps wasn't seen everywhere, and many portals have a small surface area for the problem they're tackling, but even in a small one, everybody is dealing with complexity, and I think it was mentioned earlier about things were Fabrizio mentioned things were more cohesive in a lot of places. It's we're all dealing with something where we can never get it perfect and never get it right, but there's so much complexity there, and when you can find enough paths through for enough different users and different use cases, and do it really well, yeah, that's great to see.
Ryan, what do you think about that?
What's interesting, it pinged a light bulb in my mind, Richard, what you were saying around complexity, and it links to something that I was seeing more and more of when it comes to dev portals, is that focus on like what I would call more of like API design. So yes, agree absolutely with everything around use cases, API references, but what I am seeing, which is really positive, is this attention to how am I designing APIs. And the reason why a light bulb went off when you said complexity is because part of API design is how do I abstract complexity that my users shouldn't even have to think about. And it kind of brings on this topic of, is APIs an art or a science? And maybe I argue more it's an art, because I've seen people try to create a science around how do you create the best experience around APIs and how to consume them, but it's so dependent on your context. So what I love seeing in this year, and kind of increasingly so over the number of years, is a focus on best API design, which is not a category actually, maybe it should be, but usage of it as well. So yeah, interesting. I'm quite hopeful to see how does the future look like, and how do you make it easier to actually get to zero to hero, to use an overused term, with getting up and running with your APIs more automatically or honestly.
And Marco, as technical writer, and maybe not just as technical writer, do you see certain aspects of developers more in focus lately?
Yes, well, complexity and API design, the 2 points that Richard and Chris and Ryan, brought up. Sorry, excuse me. Made me think about a couple of trends that I may notice as a tech writer. On the subject of complexity, in my mind, I'm seeing developer portals more and more getting more and more similar to very crowded airports with lots of people who are tired and don't know where to go. So signage has become really important. We need to funnel developers towards the documentation, the set of documentation, the set of tools that are really relevant to them. One side effect of that is that people have become more impatient, and instead of going through a whole book or going through a bunch of documentation first and getting acquainted and learning the concept, and then trying to tinker with a tool, an API or a web SDK, they want to see results as soon as possible. And so we, as let's say, service producers and content producers and developer portals, we need to take that into considerations. We need to consider really docs as an enabler, as an enabling tool, and not as a nice artifact that lives out there and that is useful in an abstract way. It's really something that people pick up, they do the work that they need to do, and then they put it back in the toolbox. So they need to be much more focused than they used to be, and they need to be able to track users to provide personalized content, and that is something that is becoming more mainstream.
And what would you like to drop from the airport of docs?
I'm saying something very unpopular, but I will say Next.js. It's over-engineered.
All right.
So my thing may be controversial. I'm trying to think it through. So, and I can argue both ways with this. You see developer portals becoming a lot more, I would say, like mainstream, and then more providers are having a need for APIs and dev portals, which is great. You start to see people using similar tools and different the same approaches to how they deliver this. Great in terms of familiarity, in terms of a developer goes to one portal, they then go to another one, and it's very similar and know how to navigate this. But there's also that risk of, are you becoming like, how do you distinguish yourself? Because they're all looking very similar. Do you have any USP? And where I've seen people, some of the nominees accelerate and kind of distinguish themselves is, how do I take a tool, and there's many different tools out there you can leverage, but how do I add little custom elements to make it a little bit more unique? And that could be in, say, the documentation that you create and the way that you even do your technical writing, or it could be actual features or the design. It could be a combination of that. So it's this idea of like trying not to be a carbon copy, but equally you want to keep the fact that if someone comes to your portal, you want to be able to navigate it easily because it's familiar. So that's one thing that I've seen. And something that's come up even in some of the judging was calling out the people who have really understood the context and have purposely built certain features because it means something to the dev portal. They're not just throwing a feature because it's nice to have a feature on a dev portal, but it doesn't add much value. They're actually going, well, is it easy enough to navigate my portal with a few filters here? Do I really need this extra ability to search specifically on a product? So it's finding, how do you build the right features for your need? And something that comes to mind in my own experience is sometimes I've used, and I have a very specific example, use documentation as a crutch for bad API design. When really what we should have done is, if we built the API in an intuitive way, you wouldn't have needed as much documentation to explain how to use it. But we originally went with, we're going to give all this documentation to explain how to use the API. And then eventually we learned we need to make the API more usable. So that's kind of what I'm seeing. Try not to be a carbon copy, and build features that are actually meant for your portal and for your context and for your business, not just for the sake of it.
There's some
There's a
geeking out in the chat too.
I also was cracking up when Dave. I can't do that, Dave, in this one.
Richard, what would you drop? And I do see that you like things to be in order, and Fabrizio remarked earlier on all your O'Reilly books. Thank you for seeing them. What would you drop from portals to make them better?
Well, it's not that I don't disagree with the point just now about us not having to document around poor design. But I think that does fall into that science fiction future wish for, you know, something a long way away, because I can't see software really getting there. All of the companies we work for are moving much too quickly. It's one of those fields where, you know, people will just keep making software which isn't quite there yet, and we will always be documenting around it, probably faster than AI can do it for us as well, fortunately. Yeah, so what would I drop? I think this one might be partly a personal prejudice, but I'm not alone amongst developers in not liking the way you always have to sign up for almost everything, and you know, there's very good reasons even away from the sales funnel, why you want anyone using your APIs for, especially in certain sectors, to at least be a known quantity for you. But Eddie had the kind of sandbox or playground or whatever that some sites have, where you can just not have to sign up and just have a go, and not feel that you've suddenly become a unit in, you know, into that sales funnel.
Very much in line also with what the jurist said that also last year, and it's getting better, but they're still not there. I recall Anthony saying if one more portal asks for his bank card, he's gonna lose his cool. But luckily, that's a going out practice now. It's more like, okay, your phone number. Kruno, what would you rather the industry let go of when it comes to portals?
Well, something similar to what Richard said, you know, actually it comes down to you expect to have a working example or something, and then it ends up being broken because you didn't do something like, you know, create account and get out even test key just to test if this is the right solution for you. So if you're offering something to me and you say, oh, you can test it right away, then please do make that example work right away. You know, otherwise for me it shows, I don't know, like a lack of compassion for the user, because for somebody who is developing that portal and who is working on it, they're maybe even too close and they're always logged in, they have a bunch of keys and everything works out of the box because they're using it on day to day. They have conceived it in a certain way. But when you have your first contact with that site, your first impression might be just, wait, this isn't working. You know, they said choose a language, test it, and I'm getting an error that I'm not logged in, I'm not authorized to do something. So I think it would be better to hide those examples until you log in, so you don't even try it out. The second thing that I would like to get rid of, but I'm not sure how, are those extra long pages that you can scroll for hours until you get to the bottom of the page. Yes, there is a lot of information on API. Yes, there is a lot of options. There is a lot of things that you need to check out, but maybe with some kind of a division or a logical, you know, use of menus or something like that, it could be done better. We have seen some sites that had multiple levels of navigation and they tackled that problem with new level of navigation and it worked great. You know, so in documentation, no, I don't think it is impossible to do above the fold, you know, that the most important information is above the fold, but please don't dig it 80 folds below, you know, that is like a big no-no for me.
Thank you. And if you take out your crystal ball and your science fiction Googles, what would you like to see, or how could you possibly imagine, like, where is this going?
I would like to see documentation integrated into the developer tools. That is one thing. And the second thing that I would really like to is to be able to have a conversation with the documentation in spoken words, and to hear the documentation being read out to me. I think that this would also be good from the point of accessibility, to design docs with that in mind, that it should be done in such way so that it can be read to the users that are using it. So I would say more accessibility and better integration with existing developer tools, so that I don't need to have 2 or 3 windows stacked up, opened up, one next to another. So I can just say, hey, can you now tell me what is the next parameter that I should enter to accomplish this? Do you know something about it? So I think that would be a nice thing to have.
Richard, let me ask you a second.
Yeah, I think it was touched on partially by the other jurors earlier, where people were talking about the stories and how different use cases were addressed, and where that meets the complexity of this whole range of people we have using our docs, not just the personas we put in for the beginner and the experienced user, but everyone in between who's coming in from all different ways. Some sort of and we're supposed to be looking to the future here, but I think go back 40 years. If anyone remembers the choose your own adventure books, where you would say, turn to page 56 if you want to attack the dragon, or if you're sensible and you want to run away, turn to page 45. And that combined with the some of the interactivities and choices people have been talking about, it's one way of taming the complexity. It is just not having the purely two-dimensional view into the docs of the nav, even a 2-level nav done well, but just this whole interlocking set of journeys, many of which you could make yourself, but not easy.
Fabrizio had a spin on the adventure. Marco, what do you see in future possibilities or parallel worlds of the portals?
Well, Kuno said it in really clear and easy words. I see the same. I'm starting in a very crude or rudimentary way to do the same. I use ChatGPT to do a lot of stuff, to spar when I have pieces of code that I say, oh, I don't know what it is. ChatGPT to the rescue, and I managed to figure it out. So documentation that becomes really much more interactive, and that is where you need it, which is, as Bruno said, in the product. It's right now, I understand that we make portals to provide one place for people to go and learn how to use our tools, but it's still a little bit annoying to have to go somewhere else. Most developers just want to stay within their environment, which could be the terminal or their favorite IDE. So that's the place where the doc should be. That's where it helps them. And so AI and LLMs are helping us to get there. Another thing that I would like in the future is really, I want accessibility to become just part of the standard features, not something that you add after years and years, because you start thinking about it, or because the concept of accessibility becomes more of a business concern. We really need to take it as part of the product when we develop, when we start putting a developer portal together. We should think about how to serve users who have different kinds of needs. And there can be physical needs that are different, but there can also be needs in terms of different knowledge, neurodivergence. And we need to be able to plan for that and plan accordingly and provide some paths that work for them as well. I've become more involved into it, more interested into it because of friends and colleagues who digest and consume knowledge in a different way. Say, darn it, this is wrong. They don't have to go through such lengths before they get to the point that matters to them. So yeah, accessibility and really true interactivity are my two future things that I want to happen. I want them to happen now, basically.
That future should be here right now. Thank you. Ryan, how do you see the possibilities, if only it was possible?
Yeah, I think one around use cases and being able to kind of come to a dev portal, customize a use case based off of your needs in a way which it self-generates, but then taking it, so sort of like that choose your own adventure as well for use cases. But then that next step of how do you articulate that use case and how to get up and running in a really simple way. Like my measure of how good you are in explaining APIs and how to get started would be, could you take a non-technical person and could you get them in a low code or a no code way to make an API call and then get started with maybe the basics of a use case. And if you can do that, that's a really good sign. I actually have my own objective or kind of goal at my current company to say, I want every single person in this company to be able to not only know what an API is, but also make an API call on our dev portal. And I've got that goal and I want to get every single person to do it. And I've got a fun way to try and get them to do that as well. So there's use cases, being able to customize them. Then it's making sure that any type of persona can then understand to certain levels how to enable it. Yes, you're never going to get a non-technical person to be able to develop a production ready thing, but can they do the first beginning parts of it? Can they understand the value that's coming out of it and how I would build it? And that actually plays to the fact that dev portals, I know it's developer portals, but you're not just talking to developers. You are talking to maybe product managers or business people, non-technical people who are involved in that purchasing cycle of what solution are we going down, what provider are we using. So being able to customize for that. And then my last point, funny enough, we've all kind of mentioned it without even, coordinating it, but it is on accessibility. But for me, it's how can we do some real novel work on accessibility where we think holistically. So it's not just about coming to a dev portal, being able to see it with screen readers, etc., but going, well, the next step is I need to then integrate with that API. I need to start building. And you mentioned before earlier, I think it may be Kruno may have mentioned your developer tools as well and being able to self-generate stuff. And I just think that's super interesting to see what's this end-to-end experience when it comes to accessibility and going that step beyond. And just linking in with, I guess, Marco's point as well, and both Richard's points around choose your own adventures, different types of accessibility and diversity needs. Wouldn't it be really nice to have a whole dev portal experience, which could be a choose your own adventure, and you could maybe pick a setting and the whole dev portal is changed based off of your accessibility needs. So it could be actually, I need something which is less cluttered and I need to be really focused on stuff, and I can change everything about a dev portal to be really clean and pulled back. Or I might go the other end, that I need it to all be vocalized with screen readers, etc. Or, it's just this idea of how do you go that next step forward, being quite holistic in the way you're thinking. But that's the things on my mind. How can we get to that sooner and make that future the near future?
Thank you very much. And it's kind of pushing it, but do either of you have words for future jurors? And please don't say it's horrible and don't do it. Why is it interesting to look at other portals, not just your competitors and your own?
Because you take a look at some things that otherwise you might have missed because it's out of the scope, with everyday work. Whether I like it or not, I do live in a bubble, because you're surrounded by your day-to-day tasks. And it is nice, to see what happens in related similar areas and what people are doing and building, because you never know what your next task, job, assignment might be, because you might end up integrating that system that you have learned about with something that you're already using. So it is a nice thing, and I've seen some really amazing things, and I've shared the ideas with the team that I'm working on. I've said, this we must try out. We have to see how we can leverage this. So because of knowledge sharing and experience, and talking and working with all of you people, it was really a great experience. So, as they say, would recommend 5 stars.
Meanwhile, we're having an O'Reilly chat. Thank you for all your kind words and your opinions, which I'm sure that feels a bit hazardous to say it out loud, but I hope that it helps a lot of people to come to a decision whether to build something or to drop something, and maybe like, oh yeah, that's in sync with what I'm thinking. Thank you very, very much. And it was a really great pleasure for me to be listening to your conversations. It was actually an honor. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
Can I quickly add one more thing around the benefits of being a judge? And this is a credit to yourself, Laura and Christoph. It's been such a rigorous process that I've come away from this with tons of inspiration from others, but also just the way you have conducted the DevPortal Awards had made me go back to some of the stuff I'm doing at work and saying, we could be more rigorous here, we could be better here. So just a big thank you for all the work that.
Yes, same.
Yeah.
100%.
I'd agree with those points. And then just one trivial point extra why people, you get to see so many sites which are both like yours and not like yours, and people doing things well and inspiration. But there's also the times you see things which you think, well, we're already doing this, or we're even doing it slightly better. And as docs people, you spend a lot of time just looking wrong and what you need to fix. And sometimes if you see somebody else's level with you, or you're even ahead of them, that's really nice, just to step outside your own misery and task list. So one selfish reason to try this.
Some self-empathy. Thank you very much for embracing the work and effort and the benefits of being a juror. The part about the process and the evaluation that is getting better, the kudos goes to my colleagues, and the big part, UX researchers who are putting a lot of effort into this, and they are very, very methodical. I'm just keeping up with them. And to jurors of past years who were trusting me with telling me how this could be done much, much better. And that is very helpful also. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah. There's a comment. So Bern, don't worry. This was the part you can go back and watch. This was the jury interview. The awards are still coming. So don't worry.
It's coming now. Let me try to reshare my screen.
Also, thank you for the kind words. It means a lot to the team, I'm sure. But then it might be that Bern and Joshua and Amy had a similar problem. Yeah.
I hope that everybody is now seeing the 2023 DevPortal Awards badge. Let's find out which developer portals shine very much in 2023. Today, we are going to announce the finalists and award winners in 7 nomination categories. Best Word API Business Model, Best International and Localized DevPortal, Best New Developer Experience Innovation Monetization, Community Outreach and Support, Use of Analytics, and Visual Design. Often we think of developer experience in terms of the touch points between developers and our products, documentation, support, SDKs, and of course the developer portal. But a truly excellent developer experience begins before a line of code is written or an API key generated. And one of the most important characteristics of great developer experience is a clear relationship between the developer and the vendor. Straightforward answers are crucial to questions such as, how much does this cost? How long will this product be around? Am I the product? First of all, we'd like to thank all the nominees for the submissions. Communicating an API business model through a developer portal is a challenging and critical component to putting everything in context for your prospective developer. The jury scored each site on aspects like value proposition, target audiences, both technical and not so technical, trust signals provided by real-world case studies, and customer testimonials, among other things. As a side note, the winning portal got the same score across all jurors, along with the runner-up, was a significant gap to the rest of the field when it came to the quantitative scoring. From among the 9 nominees in the Best Served API Business Model Award category, the jury selected the following finalists.
The jury felt that NatWest made some bold choices and came close to pulling off a win. NatWest did well in the value proposition and product context. The jury specifically wanted to call out the choice of their URL, bankofapis.com, as a very interesting choice that we felt worked well, breaking from the developer.yourcorporationnamehere.com. They also scored well with having the right content for the right audience, and we're not sure if they used an LLM-based product for this, but either way, we were left with the impression that each and every text block hit its mark. That level of detail is to be recognized. With such an iconic and well-known brand, the jurors' expectations were high going into the review, and MasterCard delivered. Taking into account the complexity of their target audiences across existing partners, established fintechs, and early-stage startups, there are many, many needs being met within the same portal. So let's see who the winner is for this category. It's MasterCard developers. And let's see if the animation works.
It's going
to be interesting.
Congratulations.
Probably have to click on it. Right.
Well, thank you very much. We're honored to be amongst so many amazing developer platforms and for our work to be recognized. I really think for us, it's, like you alluded to, being able to address so many different user types and so many different audiences, with the broad scope of products that we have on MasterCard developers is something we've strived for. And to know that it's coming through clearly means a lot.
So to give you a little bit of the feedback from the jury, so the jury felt it's fairly undeniable that MasterCard executed well on the most important aspects of the category requirements. Giving such a large mandate, it's also clear that the necessary level of investment has been made and maintained to accomplish the goals of their developer program. So actually, your dev portal is a product, not just a project. And as we all know, spending money doesn't equate to success, but in this case, the investments have paid off. So this is what the jury mentioned. So thank you for the comments and for yeah. There's we have some questions. So Andrew, can you come back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Glad to answer any questions I can. I just put myself on mute there.
Yeah. So first question, can you who are the people behind your developer portal? Can you share a little bit of information about what kind of team you have working on this and how you're all set up?
Absolutely. So there are quite a few teams that come together to bring MasterCard developers to the world. I think the first most important or the first piece to consider here is the MasterCard developers team, the actual developers and product people and the teams combined to actually build the website. The tooling, the reference applications, the content, all of those things are orchestrated by the MasterCard developer team. But then it's important to remember that being a company as big as MasterCard, we really are almost playing internal service provider to the many products that live within MasterCard. So for us to then go and work with each respective product team to be able to position their product in the right way, put the content and the value prop that you guys spoke about, front and center for our users to understand, and then putting together the technical documentation for developers to be able to get up and run quickly. I think that's really what we've been striving for the most, is how can we make this a seamless and easy journey with the right tooling and documentation.
Is it hard to get the alignments happening around like getting the business model out and making sure that's well represented on the portal? Is that something that comes easy to your organization, or
I think it's relative. So what I will say is it's something we put cognizant effort into. So we have a team within the API program called the API Consultancy and Standards team. And the role of this team is to put every product through their paces from the lens of a developer. So to say that their documentation needs to score to a certain caliber, their value proposition is assessed based on the wording and how clear that value proposition is being communicated, or how the product works at a high level, or what are some of the core dependencies of that API to work in a solution that we're positioning as a use case. And so from that perspective, it is a challenge when there is so much variance across each API, but because we've built these standards, we're measuring everyone to the same caliber. And for that, it makes it a little bit more a little bit easier to manage.
And how many people is all of this? Like, because you're alluding to several teams, but it sounds like it's quite a lot of people.
It is. So I've been on the MasterCard developers team for coming up on 7 years now. And when I first joined, I think we were a team of maybe 12, 15 people tops. And we've expanded to probably 60 plus employees that are dedicated to MasterCard developers. And then you add in the supporting product teams, the ones that actually own the products that, are exposed as API derivatives. Those are also included kind of in our auxiliary teams. So it's quite a lot of people touch this before it comes to fruition.
So last question I have, there's some more in the chat, but one that I want to look a little bit forward. So what's on your roadmap for MasterCard developers? Do you have any plans you want to share for 2024?
I haven't gotten a cleared list of what I can and cannot share, so
Okay.
I don't want to spoil too much. But what I will say is there's a large focus on self-service, making the MasterCard developer APIs open and accessible to more people is a major priority for us. And the more people that we can get to integrate with our products, only further drives forward that idea of APIs as a force multiplier. Right. Being able to create new things by getting access to services that people couldn't build on their own. Right. If you didn't have access to payment journeys or loyalty products, when you look at these aggregate solutions, like ride sharing apps or whatever it may be, they only become possible by the partnership and collaboration with other companies that have exposed their APIs. And really, I think that's an ethos that we're trying to push forward as much as we can through the technical assets on MasterCard developers. Make it open, make it accessible, and give people the tools they need.
Thank you very much, Andrew.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Next category, the award for the best international and localized developer portal recognizes developer portals that drive engagements with a diverse audience through their content strategy or user experience. For example, being able to recognize the user's language, location, local legal requirements, and regional expectations. The jury reported on this category the following. Our technical world still expects a good grasp of the English language to collaborate with others. So even if your technical skills are excellent, you may feel at a disadvantage if you cannot engage with a developer portal in your country's language. We were happy to see the entrance in this category and encourage portal owners and portal fans submitting their favorites in this category. That said, it was difficult to choose a winner. So let's see who's the winner in the Best International and Localized Dev Portal category in 2023.
We are thrilled to announce that Gala has been awarded the Best International and Localized Dev Portal in 2023. For the second year in a row, the award praises the organization's commitments to serving the international community of developers. The total number of non-Bahasa speaking visitors to the developer portal is a little less than 20%. In this light, BNI's decision to localize the developer portal to English is remarkable. The initiative demonstrates BNI's dedication to better serve the international developer audience and to cater to the needs of developers in a language they're more familiar with. This achievement showcases BNI's commitments to encouraging inclusivity and nurturing user satisfaction. The award celebrates their accomplishments and encourages BNI to continue improving their localization and internationalization efforts. We believe your commitment to serving developers in their preferred language can positively impact the developer community and foster a stronger connection between BNI and their users worldwide. So we already have Heri Admoko here. Welcome to the stage. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Laura.
Mr. Atmako is the Senior Vice President of the IT Digital Development Delivery Division at BNI. Congratulations.
Thank you, Laura.
So, yeah, is there something you would like to say about the award or the team that was working on it? Like something freeform before I dive into my questions? Or
Okay. Hi, everyone. Hi, Laura, Christoph. Good evening in Jakarta time. Actually, we are in the middle of the night in Jakarta.
Thank you. Thank you for joining.
First of all, we would like to thank God, my entire team who joined online, and also the judges, and also Pronovix. Thank you. Which has once again give us confidence in Bank Negara Indonesia to be able to get this award. This award is very important for us to be able to continue to innovate, to always provide the best service for all our customers. Yeah, we are honored that it has been 4 years in a row that we have participated in this event. And this is our fourth award. We have great hope to continue participating in this event in the coming years. Once again, thank you.
So, very short question. So, what happened? What's the most important thing that happened since last year for you? What milestones are you the most proud of in 2023?
Yeah, a lot of roadmap with our portal, Christoph. Actually, with now so many people talking about the AI, we are also goes to the improvement in AI. Maybe this year we are already started to use the AI. Maybe next year we will launch the feature of the AI. And I hope Pronovix and you also, Christoph, can help us to give some recommendation.
Okay, cool. Well, let's catch up after the awards and let's have a chat about what is the crystal ball saying. This is all going to turn into. Yeah, thank you very much for participating consequently, for always being here in the middle of the night, and for and for having all of your team members really participating in the community and in the efforts to make better developer portals out there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, talk soon.
I'm calling out the next category, Best New Developer Experience Innovation. This category was at the same time the most exciting and the most challenging to review. The jurors had to ask themselves what innovation means and how to evaluate products that offer very different developer experiences fairly. A note from the jurors. This is the year of AI, and we would have loved to see great innovations coming from that area. While we value the efforts from all contestants towards that direction, none of the AI integrations proved innovative or original enough. We think there's room for more experimentation and deeper integration for AI in developer portals. For now, it's the human side that prevails.
So, from among the 8 nominees in the category, the jury selected 2 winners in 2023. Both presented similarly innovative solutions for interactive code samples with different audiences and goals, each deserving recognition for the outstanding level of execution and integration with their docs. So the winners for the Best New Developer Experience Innovation Award are, in 2023...
Congratulations.
Miro Developer Platform and React.dev. Congratulations. So, some of the greatest inventions in history happened simultaneously. This has indeed been the case for both the Miro Developer Portal and the React.dev site, which added interactive code snippets that seamlessly integrate with their documentation and with their products, offering unparalleled levels of interactivity and experimentation. React.dev does an impressive job at demonstrating the features of the language using the language itself, while proving users with a sandbox they can download, fork, and reset at will. The Miro developer platform uses the same approach and brilliantly adopts it to a SaaS business model, allowing users to create dashboards from the documentation. So I'm inviting Mira Balani and William Bishop from Miro Developer Hub and Ally White from React.dev to the stage. Mira is a technical writer, and William is a staff developer advocate at Miro, and Ali is a software engineering manager for React at Meta. And I hope I didn't mangle any of your names. I've been looking up the names that I wasn't familiar with, but yeah. Anyway,
Congratulations.
It's probably Ally. I think I mangled yours.
Eli.
Congratulations. Yeah. Eli. So I was right. Okay. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Oof, this is a lot of questions ahead of us. So congratulations. In the submission, so first, Mira and William. Well done again. So in the submission, you say that Miro's mission is to empower teams. Can you share how Miro's latest innovation and addition to the developer platform ecosystem, the Developer Hub, enables that? I got the questions prepared for me, so I think a lot of these are very, very important, meaningful pieces picked from the submission. Do you have something you would like to share about that?
Yeah, Mira, would you like to take this one?
Yeah, sure. So I think that the Miro Developer Portal provides both the Web SDK and REST API, which empowers developers to create powerful apps that in turn again empowers their users to collaborate and create the next best thing, and also use their apps, collaborate, and innovate as well. Yeah, I think this is to put it short, the summary of how we empower users and teams.
So Mira, you're also going to be at the API Days, right? I've heard that you'll be a panelist in the documentation track on December 7th.
Yes.
Okay, very much looking forward to meeting you in person there. Also, like everybody else, very welcome to join us. So the panelists will be about how developer portals and platforms enable the success of API programs. Yeah, so it'll be really, really exciting to talk about that there. Congratulations, Eli. Winning in the Best New DX Innovation category is no small feat. That's like a very competitive category. So React.dev seems like it must have been like a lot of work. I think one of the jurors was saying like, you know, we wished with our team that we had the resources that you guys have to build this amazing thing. Can you tell maybe like some of the what are the most surprising lessons you've learned along the way working on this developer portal?
Yeah, well, thank you very much for having us on this award. I want to acknowledge like Dan Abramov and Rachel Neighbors, who did all of the work here. I was not really involved at all through most of the development of the docs. Very much their vision and passion and dedication that enabled them to get it to be to the place where it can help so many people use it. The vision they had of what the docs could be in the bar that they built for it is really key for how we all feel about where those docs are. A couple of things that I learned from it. One is that the journey of building the docs was not just about writing the docs, but so much of that was in many ways like the first really deep look that our own group made and took a look at for some of the APIs, which led to some of the changes in the APIs from really understanding like where things didn't make sense. I think one of the things for me personally that I love the most about the docs are the usage docs. As a user, I feel like they're like talking to me. It's not just about. Often I try to read the docs, figure out how I'm going to build with a thing, and then I have to go like look elsewhere for blog posts or something that describes like other ways to piece it together, and I'm trying to like figure that out in my brain. And I feel like the usage docs really talk to the person who's building with it about different ways that you'd actually use it with those runnable examples. So I think like that has been one of the things that I like the most. But I think the other most surprising piece is that writing at this bar and maintaining that bar is like really hard. Dan and Rachel setting that bar is a hard bar, not just for others to keep, but also for themselves to keep. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges that people probably have when trying to get there. And it'll be a journey for us how we keep that bar or as close to it over the next following couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, and congratulations to both teams again. Thank you for participating. Mm-hmm.
Congratulations and thank you. And I recommend everyone to check out the portals. Mm-hmm. They are awesome.
Thank you so much.
See you soon. Okay.
We have some technical issue here that I hope will solve. Can somebody give me hands up? Are you saying the best use of monetization slide right now? Yes. Yeah, okay, great. I hope it won't freeze anymore. If it does, please write in the chat. The Best Use of Monetization Award showcases businesses that are transparent and comprehensible in their monetization offering. However, after deliberate consideration, the jurors decided not to give an award in this category this year. We would like to emphasize that it is critical for the growth of the API economy to have more innovation and progress in the space of monetization, that the business case for APIs needs to be transparent and comprehensible for all audiences. We thank the nominees for nominating here. They are doing very great work, but the jury decided not to give an award this year. We are, as organizers, also going to change the category description in the future towards more innovative solutions that the jurors are looking for. It's possible that the category description itself is partially not the right thing. Mm-hmm. The category of Best Community Outreach and Support addresses developer portals with creative solutions or initiatives to show developers that their work is appreciated. In the downstream developer journey, the community and engagement are very important. This is where you help developers troubleshoot, provide and find solutions, share knowledge, and build connections. From among the 10 nominees in this category, the jury selected one winner and recognized the achievements of another team. So let's see a special call out first.
The jurors want to give Miro's community site a special mention for linking their product roadmap directly from the developer portal. They appreciated and admired the commitment to transparency that this demonstrates. Congratulations. Now, for the winner for this category this year, we have Ring Central developers. So congratulations. Comments from the jury. Ring Central developers community site presents an engaging and easy to navigate experience that invites contributions from new visitors as well as more seasoned community members. Easy to locate on the Ring Central developers portal, the community menu option provides developers with several different ways to engage with the community. Developers can jump directly to their community activity from the portal's landing page or visit an overview of current community activity. The community overview page provides up-to-date glimpses of the community's recent tweets, GitHub repos, latest blog posts, forum posts, and upcoming events. Their Twitter or X, or however we're supposed to call it, feed at Ring Central Devs is very active and points to developer-centric resources like a thread on Stack Overflow. Ring Central Developers Community Game Changer program rewards top contributors with reputation points and encourages new contributors to participate through challenges that reward accomplishments. They also offer a way to earn prizes you select, such as a plush panda. So whether you like to keep your plushies in the background of video calls or have kids who will fight over it, you're incentivized to get involved beyond your professional commitments. When you save up tens of thousands of Game Changer points, you can redeem them for an iPad mini even. So an early access program also gives developers a chance to preview features and to offer feedback. So that's a lot of stuff, and that's why we called it all out. This breadth of community engagement opportunities and level of community contribution made Ring Central Developers Community stand out, and that's why you all are the winners. So we've got Bern Rees here. So you were not too late. So you were good. Welcome to the stage and congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to accept this award. It's a tough one to accept because I'm here to accept it really on behalf of another team and another group here that works so tirelessly every day to stay engaged with developers, to focus on building and cultivating community. It is a Herculean effort for sure, and a huge focus for Mike Stowe and his entire team at Ring Central. I get the benefit as a product manager to have a really engaged community and owe that team, Mike and the rest, a huge debt of gratitude for the work they do.
So Mike mentions, so he's the senior director of the developer marketing at Ring Central, right? So
Correct.
He mentions that the last 5 years you've been building this out. So this is quite a long, sustained effort that you've been doing, and that there's been a lot of innovations and enhancements. So what stands out for you personally? What would you highlight as the most interesting one?
Aside from the regular kind of what I would say run-of-the-mill kind of engagement strategy through social media channels and whatnot, Mike has built, and the entire team really has built an amazing program that incentivizes engagement and has lots of challenges. I mean, we talk about gamification in these realms, especially within the domain of support, is very common. But with just regards to onboarding and developer engagement and education, our program to create challenges to engage developers has proven to be incredibly successful. All those little tchotchkes and things like that are remarkably and surprisingly a great incentive for many to just dig deep and learn more.
So you won also last year. So for this category, so what would you highlight of what has changed since last year? Is there something that's
I mean, more than anything, it's staying on top of all of the innovation and products that we have released in the last year. We released developer products in the domain of artificial intelligence, a new Ring Central Video Client SDK, new APIs for RingSense, RingCX, but staying on top of all of that content and creating challenges and giving developers the content that they need and the guidance that they need to stay on top of it is a huge undertaking. Just building a platform is one thing, but it really depends upon you infusing it with all of that content to keep people engaged, and that cannot be understated or undervalued.
So my favorite question: how big is the team? Because it sounds like a huge organization, actually.
Mike is a remarkable individual. He has a very small team. He has a small team of three. that help execute and run it on a day-to-day basis. But he really does run the strategy and overall kind of advocacy internally to keep these programs funded and running on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
The developer portal team at large is certainly larger than that. But with regards to community outreach, which includes all of the events, all of the social engagement, all of the programming and content, it is a very small, tight-knit group of individuals.
Cool. Sounds like they're like orchestrating the rest of the organization to make that work. Yeah.
Very much.
Cool. Very cool. So thank you very much, and congratulations again,
Thank
Vern.
you very much.
Thank you for coming on stage.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, next one.
The best use of analytics category showcases developer portals that provide dashboards or analytics to enhance the developer experience or business value of operating with the documented APIs. For example, with metrics, transparent pricing, and an overview of API keys. Some examples of metrics are a measure of performance, time to first API call, uptime, availability, usability, calls made to the API, issues logged, resolved, number of subscribers or accounts, monetization, and usage statistics. From among the 3 nominees in this category, the jury selected the following winner. Drum roll.
Drum roll. It's Pandadoc for developers. Congratulations. So Pandadoc boasts a robust feature set for data analysis that sets it apart from its competitors. While it is integrated with the dashboard and not the portal, the analytics use case are clearly explained in both the support and learning material for Pandadoc with clear and annotated screenshots. Customization helped this developer dashboard stand out, since it enabled resizing the dashboard and the ability to remove columns to make for a simpler data display. A CSV export function also is included that lets you go beyond what is provided by the built-in dashboards and further analyze your data. The chart with status transition time provides ways to look for efficiencies in the system on both the sender's processes and the receiver's time spent signing a document. The data itself aided the jurors' understanding of the value proposition of the platform. The Pandadoc Dev Center in the dashboard looks like a helpful tool for integrators with multiple systems. We believe that developers will appreciate the embedded analytics features in the Dev Center being a part of their workflow with Pandadoc. So we have normally, if we're lucky, we've got Maria Ermakovic from Pandadoc here on the virtual stage. Hello, welcome.
Welcome and thank you. I'm actually hiding in the office because I'm, still at the office at this hour. Thank you, it's a huge honor. I actually had a developer walk me through our analytics platform just today because I wasn't very eloquent with it. But you can post your questions to me and I will be very happy to address them in due time. Thanks again. It's a huge, huge honor. We are very honored and privileged, and we'll be adding a cool badge from DevPortal Awards to our developer portal.
Super cool. So
Congratulations.
Congratulations. So do I venture asking you questions about analytics?
Well, you can try to. It's going to be on record. I'm going to be embarrassing myself on the record, but I will answer them. Maybe not today, but eventually.
Okay.
Yes.
So what can you tell a little bit about the journey? Like, how did it evolve? Was it something that just people sat down and went to the Batcave and built something awesome, or was it something that has been evolving over time? Do you know?
Wow.
Okay.
Well, actually, when I onboarded, it was mostly there.
Okay.
But we certainly have several API teams that follow closely with our customers. And I personally address the documentation feedback to our API portal.
So then maybe addressing some of the things that you're responsible for, like what are you most excited about for 2024? Do you already have plans for interesting things?
Yes, we do. Well, the funny thing about these awards is that, I'm a shy person with an imposter syndrome. That's why I was reluctant to apply, because we do the things that everyone else does. But then I was like, why not? We do the same things. Maybe the jury will see a differentiator there. And so we just try to be, cohesive. We try to be logical in our API design. And for 2024, we have huge plans because when you try, we do electronic signature, right? Small customers do electronic signature on the web, on the UI by hand. But if you are talking about huge customers and they day-to-day document flow, they do it by API. So API becomes more and more important. And as we automate workflows and as we incorporate AI, API becomes even more important. So we have huge plans for enriching our API with the endpoints that will allow for automations and integrations. And of course, we will try to streamline our developer experience as well, and maybe even incorporate a choose your own adventure path. So we'll see.
Cool. Thank you very much. Again, congratulations. Thank you for staying in the office. I hope you, Thank you.
I'm gonna be cheering from the sidelines for the rest of the nominees. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And the last category we announced today, best visual design. Excellent visual design for developer portals is more than the aesthetics of the platform. It's the way every aspect of it, design elements, content, navigation, is structured for clarity, usability, and it centers support for a great user experience. There were so many nominees in this category. You can see the list. I'm not sure if you can even read it. And the jury had quite the time going through all
It's
of
frozen.
that.
It's frozen.
Where is it
restart.
frozen?
Does it change now?
Can you see the best visual design slide? No.
That's weird. Because for us, it's changing. Let's restart.
Give me a moment. I stop sharing.
So you can see the
and
list.
I restart. So you can see that list that the jury had to go through. Where did it go?
I
Here.
think that one. Yeah. So now's the lists.
I am now sharing the nominee list and the visual design category. There were so many positives that the jury saw in this category that were standouts for making the developer's journey an enabling one, from fonts to images to various illustrations to aid understanding. And from among the 26 nominees, the jury chose 2 finalists and 2 other portals got a special call out. Let's first see the finalists.
So first, there's a VTEX. The jurors found the simple, smooth, and clean design of the portal to be very elegant and commendable. They also liked the progressive disclosure of the visual journey. The second one, the VM documentation portal. The jurors found the visual experience of the VM documentation portal really delightful, original, and appealing. Before unveiling the winner,
yes, there's a gotcha here.
Yeah.
Thank you for spotting Valdo. This is Mastercard.
I was like,
that is the find your own adventure part here. The VM documentation portal does not look like this. But before we unveil who's the winner, let us show further great examples. And I apologize to VM. We are going to set this right in the published part. Special callouts.
So the special callouts go from the jury panel are for the following portals. Spotify Developer Portal. We enjoyed the colorful visuals and playfulness and found it very pleasant to interact with the portal. Second one, React.dev portal. We commend its interactivity and community focus, perfect for its target audience. And then third one, Cloudinary Dev Portal for its well-structured and detailed guides. So now for the winner, drum roll.
Let's hope it doesn't freeze.
This
is the right
This is the
picture.
right screenshot.
Congratulations.
So congratulations. So we're going to have Naomi Pentrell on the stage, please. So the VM is the winner for the award for Best Visual Design. The pages are well organized and consistent in layout and with clear, intuitive navigation. We also noted that the 404 page was very elaborate and actionable in helping guide users back to the catalog. This award celebrates the intentionality, design effort, vision, and execution in giving developers a smoothly guided journey around the portal. The VM DevPortal stands out with this. Kudos to the team. We could tell that it was done with lots of love for their developers. So Naomi, thank you for coming to the stage. You're the head of developer content at VM. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. This is a huge honor, and I'm glad to see. Well, this is of course a team effort from our design team and our product design team and the developer content team. So it's great to see that. Yeah, it's great to see us receiving a prize for that.
So I have a few questions for you. So can you tell us a little bit more about the history behind the design?
Yeah, so, well, I joined about now a year ago, and at that point, the developer portal looked very different. It was barely designed at all. There was weird indentation throughout the docs. It looked very much like a developer portal from, I don't know, maybe the 90s or the 2000s. And we then went through a process of redesigning it to be much more in line with the product. So the product had this beautiful design that you can kind of see here. It's a bit brutalist, modern, and I always think it looks very, very robot-like, very machine-like. So I think it goes very well with the product, which is all around machinery. So we put a lot of effort into making sure the design matches the product, and then we did, we also redesigned the front page to make sure that the things that people ask for at events a lot and the things that generally get asked to support are right there above the fold on the first page. So we just went through a lot of small incremental changes to make it prettier wherever we could.
Small incremental changes sounds like you're doing user research. So what kind of research are you doing, and how are you executing it?
Yeah, we did actually recently do a bigger bit of user research on the entire onboarding experience. After we went through changing all of it, we said, okay, now let's do some interviews and watch people as they go through using the documentation. So we learned a whole lot from that. My team created a 20-page report on learnings from those roughly, I think, 10 interviews. And we then improved the documentation, we improved the navigation, and we also improved the product based on that. The other thing we do is we make it quite easy for people to give us feedback. So at the bottom of each page, not on the front page because that was a bit much, but on the bottom of every page, you have the usual feedback widget. Mm-hmm. And that goes into a spreadsheet that then sends us an email. So every day, if anyone says anything, we see it immediately and we action it as soon as possible. So yeah.
So do you have a UXer on staff for this, or?
No, we don't. That's just that's the developer content team. So we're currently a fairly small team. We're 5 technical writers, including myself. So I think we watched some talks on how to do UX research, and we went for it.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Yeah. You should have heard the jurors geeking out about this portal.
Thank you very much.
So, thank you for participating. Mm-hmm. So that was the last category for today.
Yes. And we celebrate all of the nominees for the thoughtfulness the hard work, the creating, everything else that goes into creating good developer portals. And, better beats perfect any day. Thank you for entering the awards competition. And I would like to say, after Christoph, also a big thank you to the whole organizer team. They put a lot of work into this from January through December. And we hope that we are doing our best work also with the DevPortal Awards to make better developer portals and make them successful. We invite you to join us 2 weeks. It's the same time of the day, whatever that is on the 29th of November. I hope
There's no time zone changes, I hope.
No, that's all done.
Okay.
On November the 29th is the second gala, where we will reveal the finalists and the winners in the remaining 7 categories, including the best overall enterprise and the best overall SME portal of 2023, which doesn't exist, but we would like to highlight amazing portals. So also 2 weeks from now on the second gala, the UX team, my colleagues, UX researchers, will present an intriguing exploration. They will unveil what happens when developers experience the rewarding state of deep focus and productivity, and how a developer portal can support this. The presenters will highlight good practices from the DevPortal Awards nominee pool. We will celebrate the finest solutions available today, together with jurors Susanna Lauren, Anne Gentle, Michael Richardson, and Bob Watson. And you, your colleagues, your friends, and family are most warmly invited. I'm looking forward to meeting you there again.
There's more stuff to invite you to. So we also like to invite you to join the documentation track at the API Days in Paris on December 7th. We will delve deeper into how current documentation trends and practices accelerate sustainable and successful development, deployment, and management of API programs. Pronovix is a longtime partner of the API Days in Paris. Like, we've been working together with them for quite a while. So we have free tickets. So if you, your colleagues, or your friends want to join us, especially if they're interested in the documentation, API documentation, or developer portals, go and visit api-docs.org for more information for free tickets. Also, if you want to keep learning about API documentation and developer portals, we are always at your service with all the other content that we're doing in the community. So we've got our newsletter where we are sharing stuff. I haven't sent it yet to the Meerkat team, but I've got a series of blog posts about the future of interfaces and interface discovery and how that can go beyond the APIs. So if you're interested in that or any of the other work we're doing, make sure you don't miss out and sign up for the newsletter. There's also a podcast that we're doing. There's the API Resilience podcast, which is like the API philosophy podcast. It's a little bit less regular, but where we do deep dives. There's the API the Docs podcast that Lara runs. There's the Developer Success podcast. And then we have webinars and a bunch of other content on our website that we'd love to welcome you to. There's a lot of free stuff. A lot of people have told me, we build our portal working with the content that's available there. So, make sure to go and check it out.
Yeah. If you want to geek out with me on docs and UX and whatnot on the API Docs podcast, drop me a line, and I'm happy to talk with you.
Or if you want to go deep into the philosophy of APIs.
So thank you. Now we are on to the hallway track. I hope that you can stay so that you can talk directly with the nominees or the jurors or with each other. The event has been recorded up until now. The hallway track is not recorded. Those are the conversations. Stay privy to the table where you are at. And tomorrow, my colleagues are going to contact every winner to provide some digital material for promote achievements. And we will also make some announcements through our social media channels. So back to the virtual roundtables. And thank you for joining, and see you on the 29th of November. Congratulations to everybody.
Congratulations.